a very common trap that is set on online dating sites and even online in general. This has happened with dating profiles as well as pages and sites where women go to look for men to be seed donors. So please allow me to read this dating profile of a woman. She's in her late 30s, educated, beautiful, respectful, successful, and sweet. She's looking for a respectful, decent man who believes in love or who wants to have a child with her and simply be co-parents or friends. This is what she says: "I will be emotionally and financially responsible for the child, but all I want is a good father figure in you. If we fall in love, that's great, and if we don't, we can keep living under the boundaries that we set for ourselves. If not, we can have a child together and you can spend as much time as you want with your child. I'm a very laid-back person. I'm free of drama and have a soft spot for children." Wow, that sounds like a great deal. She pays for everything and provides emotional support, and you can be a father whenever you want. Perfect for some, right? So, let's dig deeper into this. So, this is a dating profile that one of the guys in my neighborhood had told me about. This is something that I once stumbled over, so I want to bring it up. I believe there was plenty of fish in the area back then. Therefore, I would have dated this person about 20 to 25 years ago. This was a stunning girl with a similar sort of story. "I want to have a child, but I don't want a husband," she said. "I'm not looking for a man in my life. All I need is a donor. You must be tall and attractive. I'm going to examine your photos and make sure you're my type, socially and financially able to look after yourself." This is a standard story in all of these profiles, by the way. They all say the same thing when they're looking for a guy who can sort of be a father, but does not have any other responsibilities if he chooses to be with a woman. They can be intimate if they want, or they can choose not to be intimate. It's up to them. They can choose any sort of rule in the book and basically create a bespoke relationship that works for both of them. I know it sounds great theoretically, but it's never the way it seems. I recall having a discussion with a lawyer friend of mine about family law while doing some study of my own. He wasn't a family lawyer, but he was reading about it, and I told him about it because I was truly thinking about it. The moron I was at the time. During our conversation, she asks, "Where do you live? What is your height?" So, I'm chatting to my friend when he says, "Wait a minute, I just found some case law," and he pulls it up and shows it to me. He learned from case law that this woman had previously pulled a similar stunt and told the gentleman it didn't matter because she was financially secure, a decent person, and could cover all of his expenses. You can drop by occasionally and be a father if you want to. But the whole pitch these women use to sell guys is that they can have unprotected intimacy, unload, and go home without worrying about anything because she will handle everything. In this case, it ultimately worked out for around 6 or 7 years before she was broke, and without any means of income. And this is where it got worse for the guy. And I can tell you this, it never works out. The trap is to lure a guy for intimacy without responsibilities and then ditch him for financial aid from the state. So after that significant shift in her financial circumstances, she filed a lawsuit against the child's father. Surprise. The family court granted her child support and payments. Therefore, despite the agreement she had convinced him to accept, the guy ended up losing a lot of money while the woman received custody and a regular paycheck from the guy who basically ended up being a loser in the whole case. So this is not the way a guy should proceed. It can absolutely ruin the person. This has also happened on various online communities, which are not dating websites. I'm not going to say which one though. I observe it as a fly on the wall in a number of different Facebook groups, but I've seen it regularly. Simply observing what these forums are discussing in these various spaces. They also have this one where they post images of themselves or themselves with their partners who are sometimes of the same gender. Then they will decide whether they will consider artificial insemination or natural insemination, which is where they actually engage in intimate activity. However, they essentially state that we are seeking a seed donor and often have a list of qualities that they would like in their donor husband or father of the children. He must be of a specific ethnicity possess a particular degree or one that is equivalent to this specific degree, be at least this tall, and occasionally they have preferences for things like hair and eye color. However, these situations frequently arise, and many men will ultimately make the contribution, whether they do it voluntarily or forcibly. You could be confident that they have a child, a job, and are able to pay their expenses. But if they reside in a state, country, province, or region in the West where their financial condition changes, then they may, as all women always do, decide to alter their minds at any moment in the future. If family law is recognized there, then you don't have a legally binding agreement in place to shield you from any debts or liabilities. Not all agreements are perpetually enforceable, though. It's possible that provisions in state or provincial law take precedence over any agreements you make. For instance, one of my friends once said that he would contract with his wife, stipulating that he would have to receive at least one BJ once every week. Then he should know that something like that cannot be enforced. Right, you must rely on family law if it supersedes any contracts you may have. Women use family law to their advantage. Whatever you agree to among yourselves will always take precedence, so you can't rely on it. Therefore, you must use these concepts and beliefs with extreme caution from these women who are obsessed with having babies. Those are women who have an unnatural fascination with having a child or children, in case you didn't know what that was. Women typically begin to understand they are essentially at the end of their reproductive cycle later in life, often after age 30. Some people even acknowledge this in their early 40s. The key takeaway is that men must exercise extreme caution. You don't have the right to decide once the seed leaves your body if you start with the knowledge and realization that you are a guy. In general, it's all about her. So if she decides 10 years from now that the agreement she made with you to do whatever doesn't work for her, she can utilize the family law of the country in which she resides to require that you pay her money. If you receive a legal notice stating that you owe money, not simply for current payments, don't be shocked. Be extremely cautious, guys. It's a trap. This is a landmine of epic proportions that can explode at any time, crippling you for life. Essentially, these are ads for seed donations. Everything will be all right if we have a baby. It's a really nice deal for you since you get to be a father, but you don't have any financial obligations. I have no doubt that someone is currently going, "I did that, and it went perfectly well," which is fantastic for you. However, most males are in way too great of a danger in this situation, so I would strongly advise against even considering it. When the thought of considering it for me again in 1999 first surfaced, it was a big joke. It was merely a thought I entertained since, I found the proposition to be intriguing. Whatever the reason, interesting proposals usually grab your attention, yet it still exists today. It's still prevalent. One of the greater hazards at the moment, in my opinion, is that these are couples pretending to be infertile or unable to have children simply because they are the same gender. Women, of course. To have a child that they are not physiologically capable of having, they search for seed donors. Guys, don't just expect that interacting with all these random people will benefit you in the long term. What do you have to say about this? Let me know in the comments. And as always, please like and subscribe for more Man Reacts content.